Hi everyone, this is Melissa the Stamp Doc. Today I'm going to be coming to you from my hotel room. For those of you on my mailing list, you know that I've been in Chicago with my daughter for a dance camp, and what that meant was I basically got to chauffeur her back and forth to classes all week. And so a lot of my time was spent in my hotel room by myself. And if I'm going to have alone time, I want that to be stamping time. So I brought a lot of my stamp supplies with me, and I keep getting the question of how to stamp in a small space. Well, the hotel room is a small space, and I thought I would show you how I organize the supplies that I've got here, and basically what I consider kind of bare bones, but having everything you need. So even though it's, not a lot of stuff, it's still enough to get any type of crafting project done. So if you've got a small space already, these are going to be some great little tips for you. Or if you're traveling and you only can take a few things with you, this kind of gives you an idea of what I would travel with. So I'm going to turn the camera around and just kind of walk you through my desk area and everything I've got set up. It's spread out right now, but when I'm actually stamping, I do try to keep it a little more compact. So let me flip you around here. Okay. So yes, basic hotel room, nice look at the parking garage. Okay, so of course I always bring my catalogs. And as you can see, I even brought my two new ones that are coming up. I brought my Celebration and my Holiday Mini because, if you get bored, you can always look through the catalog. Now, this is a new purchase, but I picked this up at the Container Store today, and this is so cute. But I always bring a little trash bag, or, if you want to, just get a reusable shopping bag if you need to. But you need something for those small scraps just so you can keep them contained. And I just thought this was adorable. So this is available at the Container Store. Looks like a giant coffee cup, but it is now my new trash bin. I went ahead and brought my big Stampin' Cut and Emboss because I knew I was going to be doing some bigger die cutting, but honestly the smaller one works great if you know that your projects are going to involve smaller die cuts. When you look through the catalog, it will have mini next to the dies if you can use those dies exclusively, or even just some of them with that mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and that one's great for travel. But I almost always bring this with me because if I don't, it just, I always find that I need it, so I do use it a lot. I also bring some grid paper. I never know what kind of workspace I'm going to have, so I like to have my grid paper, and that way I've got measurements on there if I need them, and I've just got a nice clear space to work. And of course my paper trimmer and my Stamparatus are both here. So this is one of the first little cases that I bring, and this one was empty when I started. And I think I got this one at the Container Store, but you could also probably get something very similar at any of your local hobby stores. But this is just a slimline case, and I just put any of my little bits and pieces, scraps of cardstock, anything that I'm kind of like mid-project through. I have a way of organizing my scraps back at home, but when I'm traveling, I just like to be able to throw them somewhere so that I'm not just pitching, half sheets of cardstock. So these are either like work in progress or some die cuts that I've already done. I usually do a lot of extra die cuts, anything like that. So that's a really nice little case, and that is an iris case. So you just look for that little iris thing there. Okay. And then I have a larger iris case. Now this one's pretty deep, so you can see right there. It's I'd probably say about 4 inches deep at least. And this one I put all of my paper in. So for right now, I've just got my 12 by 12 paper in. And yeah, that you can tell that's a new paper right there. And that one's really pretty. But I just put all of my 12 by 12 paper in there. And I always keep the little dividers in between. So the backing that you get from your cardstock, if you have a small space and you just have to organize all of your 12 by 12 paper in one spot, keeping those dividers really will keep that a little better organized. And if I get smaller pieces of that paper, then that just moves over into my little slimline case that you saw earlier. So this is really for full sheets of paper. I try not to get little scraps or bits and bobbles in that, because that just gets kind of messy. So this next case over here, I'm not really sure, but I think I got this at Joann's. So it is a double case here, and this is really what I call my tool kit. So I've got my heat tool there at the top. I do like to do a lot of heat embossing, but especially at the holidays, so I brought that with me this time. I've got my scissors, my take your pick tool, a few little embellishments. I have a Memento pad and also a Versamark pad in there because they're very versatile and I can use them with anything. All of my adhesives are here. I've got some dimensionals down there. So just anything I would need to grab quickly, this is kind of that toolkit for that. And then underneath, grab that. So I'm doing this one-handed, so I do hope you guys understand I didn't bring a videographer with me to the hotel room. So I have some of my ink pads. This is an old tray that I use for embossing. I'm just going to set that over there. I like the Stampin' Pierce pad because if you find that you have not a great surface to stamp on, this really will work in a pinch to get you a good stamped image. And then just, I just picked colors that I knew that I would be using. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll look through the colors that are in the designer series paper that I'm using, and I'll just pick those colors out. So even with that, I think I only used like half of these. So I think I brought about 16 with me. So maybe 18. But I didn't bring all of my stamp pads. I just brought the colors that I'm likely to use the most. Okay. So then over here, this is by a brand called Deflecto, and I did pick this up from the Container Store. So these little containers kind of slide right into this handled box. And another thing is if you have a small space, this might be a really good brand for you with traveling or moving stuff because it actually has a wheeled base that you can lock these into as well. So this was my new purchase today before I had this one over here, and I just had my blends loose, but these are just little individual containers that I can put all of my Stampin' Blends in. And unlike my ink pads where I only bring a few, I have to bring all of my blends because when I'm coloring, I want every color available to me. So this is just a really great way, a compact way of doing that. Now there were only 3 at the Container Store that I went to, so I got 3 of them. And as you can see, all my in colors are kind of loose. So in this one, I have ribbon and some more embellishments. And again, I generally have not really specific projects in mind, but specific products I'm going to be using. So I went with kind of suites that would have, you know, the red ribbon or the little check ribbon. So I just made sure I grabbed ribbons that would coordinate with the projects and the stuff I brought to go with that. And you're probably seeing a lot of little sneak peeks here. I'm not pointing them out, but there are a lot of sneak peeks from that holiday catalog. So in here I've got some of my embossing powders, I've got some of the new punches. This is just another way to store those. And this will actually fit into this. So I might get another one of these carriers. Those are kind of handy to have. And I might even change my toolbox around. So over here, I went ahead before I went on my trip and I just bought full packages of the assorted cardstock and a full package of white. So I think they got a little damp in the box while they were sitting out on my porch. I think that's why they've got the little ripple there. So I've kind of tried to weigh those down. But that way I know when I'm traveling, I've got every color I could possibly need. So that's how I do that. And I just I'm going to put those on top of the 12 by 12 paper when I travel with those back. And then I've got baby wipes. I always use the unscented baby wipes whenever I'm traveling. I don't like to mess with the chamois or any of the Stamp and Mist or anything like that. Baby wipes are just kind of one of the easier things to do, and they serve multiple purposes when you're traveling anyway, so just nice to have. And then I did bring some dies. Now I use the magnetic cards from Stampin' Storage. I love these and I've used them for years. But you know, if you don't want to do that, you can always just keep them in the envelopes. That's fine too. So either way, you know, whatever your plan is for storage, neither one of those takes up much space. And then I brought quite a few stamp sets. Sad to say, I didn't really have time to ink all of those. But let's see, how many do I have there? I think I've got like 18 of those here too. But I did get probably 6 of them inked up, so that's better than nothing. So this little area here, just so you know, let me kind of pull back there. So this is just this TV stand that's here. And what I did is I put all of that on that one shelf, and then in the next drawer, I put those other containers there that I showed you. So again, I'm really only taking up, let me come back over here so you can see, taking up that amount of space. So really kind of a small area, but I'm able to craft just like I am at home. So, you know, even though my room is slightly bigger at home, with these few supplies, I'm really able to keep everything organized. So like I said, most of the things I've shown you, they're either available online or you can, you know, pick them up at the Container Store or any of your craft and hobby stores. So hopefully that's helpful to you. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave me those below and I'll come back through and answer those for you. And next week, hopefully I will have an actual stamping video for you. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Remember, if you want to sign up for the Tidings and Trimmings class, tomorrow is the very last day. So get those registrations in. Take care.